Yo, what's up guys? New video, Dragon's Abyss a layer hard, and this is not the time that I'm really looking for, but there was this post on Reddit, which will be linked in the description down below. Thanks for making a post. Saved me a lot of work for pretty much speed tuning and all of that kind of good stuff. But the team is pretty much looking like this, and it's fully free to play. This spot is open for other units pretty much. Like these 4 units are the main core units. And they have specific speeds where they lap a few times, so you pretty much kill without the invisibility coming up, or not the invisibility, immunity coming up most of the time. That is the main goal for this, just doing a lot of damage. Sabrina and Deva have a lot of damage together. They just do a sick ton of damage. Lauren is just a triple fight unit. I'll go over the runes like slower at a later moment, but these are just glancing over the runes right now. You might say like, hey, free-to-play team, but no free-to-play runes. Yes, that's normal, but keep in mind I have these things runed right now, while still having Akamami runed on the previous set shown in the previous video, the Lin runed, and the Veramos runed. So I'm already taking away like quite some good damage sets that I'm not using. So then again, we have these 4 units, and then it's adding in something extra. Well, if we go non-free to play round, as in a more rare unit, Debra is definitely your best bet. Also, the turn order for this is your Lorne moving first, she moving after, and then Sabrina moving, and then you want to have Debra moving, and all the way at the end you have Verd moving. Actually, Verd moves in front of Debra in this case, because Debra AI or Debra skill animation is just kind of slow. So let's say you do not have a Debra. I tested out 2 units. There's a few more units that you can test. And I think that the best option is, if you only have the free-to-play units, is Talia. Talia does a lot of damage as well, also only needs the 85 crit rate. You don't really care about any accuracy on any of the units except for Lauren. Lauren has to be at least 65. You don't need higher than 65, but 65 is the bare minimum. And then for Sabrina, you can add in some extra accuracy to land armor breaks if Lauren would miss it, which is pretty nice. But it's not really a must. So if we let this run, we're gonna let this one run first. I also tried in on the Sabrina spot, or on the Talia spot, I tried in Veramos. It was slightly slower, but I think it's slightly more safe. You could even throw in things like a Spectra could be in it there. There could be a Light Griffin could be in there. So it's just pretty much like a damage slot to speed up things pretty much. So you could even think about maybe you put in something there that speeds up the waves. That's also possible. I'm not sure if I would put like a Leia in there. Would that actually speed up things? I'm not entirely sure. Also, Leia without armor break probably doesn't clear the waves fully. So that's, in that sense, doesn't really help. But as you can see, these twins do quite a lot of damage. I missed one thing. Technically, if you use Talia, Talia should move less. Well, should move just before Verd, but after the Sabrina, because the lower HP, the more damage she does, at least below the 50% mark of the enemy HP. But I messed up that they have the exact same speed, but since there's a speed lead, one overtakes the other on the same speed, of course. And in this case, Talia has a higher base of 103 and the other one is 101. So, but this team is pretty solid. Do you need good runes to make this work? Yeah, you need pretty good runes to make this work, because if you don't deal enough damage, you're not gonna be able to clear the boss fast enough. It's gonna get immunity, it's gonna start hitting you. That part is pretty annoying. Lauren is still very nice for all of this, because, well, it's just a pushback. Even if the boss would get immunity, there's still quite some turns possible before it actually starts shooting at your face. So yeah, rune quality is pretty important for this. If you're looking at artifacts, actually my Lauren doesn't have optimized artifacts for this at all. But the twins is all about co-op damage in combination with damage on fire. The Verdi heal is all about damage on fire, and then whatever crit damage is what he can find. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I would also recommend not to go fully for crit or the co-op damage, or fully for the thing on fire. I recommend to search for artifacts that are kind of half-half. So that have something. I'm not entirely sure what does more damage than another, but I would just calculate like, okay, I have 10 in co-op, I have 10 in fire. That's probably better as a 20 combined. That's probably better than something else on 18 without having the other one in there. Also, you can use the enchant stones thingies right now to, if you have one that's like plus 15, just keep rolling the other one until you have a plus 5 or plus 6 or something like that. from the other stats that you need on that one. So that's pretty much for the artifacts. That helps out really a lot to add in some of those. And you can see in these runs, it's pretty safe. Once again, it's based on the Reddit post that I've seen earlier and also mentioned in the description down below. So I didn't have to actually craft this team at all for time that I could just follow a guide and then make a video on that. Super nice. Is this the fastest team out there? Free to play wise, I think it doesn't get much faster than this. It is this dungeon is pretty different towards where does damage come from and that kind of stuff. Also, a thing to keep in mind, it is very likely that Deva will be used for Necro B12 or like a Necro Heart as well. Because I think a team like this, you see a lot of multi-hits in here. And I think it really depends on Necro, what their special ability is going to be like. Personally, I probably think like the shield is gonna get one extra hit before it breaks or something like that. But these are units minus the third, most likely that you will use for Necro B or like Necro Heart as well. So there are good odds that it's not bad to have these units runed up already and kind of ready to go. Big difference, of course, will be where Deva doesn't need the 85 crit or doesn't need 100 crit rate there, and the other twins need 85 crit rate. And it's very good odds that people would just start throwing like 4 twins at it and that kind of stuff. Other replacements for Talia, if you don't have Talia ruined or not used, or you just want to use something else. Martina is a very good option. Once again, it is a pay-to-win option, but if you do have a Martina and you don't have a Deborah, then Martina is definitely probably the best solution after Talia. Or not necessarily after Talia, but before Talia. If you don't want to use Talia, but you have a Maruna, which is the fire one of Boomerang, then that is definitely an option too. Well, in this case, I will showcase the team with Deborah in there. Deborah moves as completely last. It has a shield set, and shield set is not needed here, but the shield set is pretty much for giants still. So that is mainly the thing which you want to aim for with this team. It's pretty straightforward. It's just adding in as much damage as possible. This team runs, I've seen it run like 40 seconds. I didn't let it run that often. It felt very safe, especially with, well, Deborah's just kind of cheating. But yeah, this is running about, I would say, 42, 43 second average. I think it will go about that. It's really depending on how good your rune quality is. The one with Talia was running about, I would say, 50 to 55. The one with Veramos in there was like 55 to a minute. So those are pretty much the ranges that if you have these rune qualities that I have here, that you can actually run those things for. In a second, I will also go over the rune qualities or the runes itself and the, well, as you can see, 40-second run on the first try right now. So this would, I think it could go easily to like 38, 39 as fastest. But this is pretty fast for this. And I think without LD5s, like, of course, I have shown in the previous video, the 25-second video for giants, average, insanely freaking fast. If you use a Manananan Jara, I think with Manananan Jara in a certain way here, you can probably get pretty fast for this dungeon too. But then you need a Manananan Jara, probably Debra Vert +1. I think it will be something along the lines of that. Maybe you don't even need the Vert, you just go for Deva plus Sabrina in that case. That could definitely be the team. Yeah, actually, that could definitely be the team to run it like sub 30 seconds on that one. But yeah, once again, I don't have the Jara, I don't have the Manananan, don't have a Lucifer, but I do have a Debra, so with a Debra I can make it 41 seconds, and let's actually go out of here. Well, okay, we have to wait one more run. And then from there we can check what the runes are looking like more specifically. Once again, keep in mind, these are high-end runes. However, I still use all of my runes for all of my Giants teams, and those are the ones that are having the better runes right now. So this is actually, for me, a tier 2 rune sets. Well, actually, every rune set has its own tier, I would say, but overall, in general, I would say these are my tier 2, tier 3 rage runes, and with that, I can make these teams. So with that, I would assume that this is a lot more easy obtainable for the runes rather than the runes that I showed for the Giants video that was there. But I will show you in a second after clearing this thing in another, well, this would be like 42, 43 seconds. It's pretty stable of how many seconds you do this all the time, which It's more chill than Giants. Giants is kind of more all over the place. But we're kind of used to that from Dragons as well, to be, once you have it running, to be a more stable run. So we have 42 seconds, which is very nice. And if we look at the runes, so the third is looking just rage. We have, as mentioned, the crit damage on, or the damage on fire, and then whatever crit damages you can find. Third damage is, I think, the least important. So this is the unit you focus on the worst runes that you have after ruining all of the others. This one had to be at least 140 plus, and it had to be triple fight. Also for the speeds of third had to be at least, wait, let me check the thing. Third had to be at least 63 speed, and it had to move last, but just before Debra if you use Debra. If you don't use Debra, then third is moving last. Lauren's moving first and has a lot at least 140 speed. Then you have Deva. Deva is, well, a free-to-play unit. If you did the HOH, it was also one of the choice HOHs, so it should be that you have that unit. Plus 100 speed at least, and you want to focus the highest runes that you have that are speedy-ish on her. And then also like damage fire, and then the co-op damage, those kind of Gucci stuff in there. Second best set goes towards Sabrina. Sabrina has to be at least plus 61, but has to move before Verd. And she's also a good rage set. And then once again, similar artifacts. If you have Talia in there, Talia also has to move as last. So still plus 61 if I'm not mistaken. But it has to move before Verd. So you have to keep those things in mind. Mine is, no wait, actually it has to be less than plus 61. I think plus 60 is already enough, because you have the speed lead. But yeah, I have one speed too much where she overtakes the Sabrina, which is not what you want. But in this case, also, once again, a rage set. But as you can see, this rage set is a lot more D-tier. Like, except for this rune, all of the other runes seem not that great. Like, they're pretty okay, but they're not great, because I'm pretty much out of rage runes at some point, because I don't really use, or I don't really farm that many rage runes. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it, and also for the runes. And I think it's relatively more doable to get these runes and get this team in. Once again, yes, Debra is kind of the cheat code and the kind of the way to make things a lot faster. But then again, you could also say that about the Jara, Manonon, Lucifer, and blah, blah, all of the kind of stuff. So that is it for this team. I did mention already, it's very likely that you will use similar units to, to Necro later as well, which we will probably get in like a month and a half, not entirely sure. So definitely do check out for, or yeah, just if you didn't build those units yet, start building them, because you probably do it. Deva's 100 crit rate, yes, you pretty much want every 100 crit rate, except for the units that are water, of course. Water, you need 85 crit rate. You do have, with 85 crit rate, these crystals are non-element. You're not gonna always crit on those crystals, but that doesn't really slow down the run that much. It's just better that if you do a lot of damage on the dragon, that is really where you get like more speed on this run rather than clearing the waves fast. There's probably a bunch of options where you can also replace Debra by a different unit. If you would have to have like a Lucifer, you can replace that. Someone was asking about Cadiz. What if you have Cadiz? Personally, if I had Cadiz, I would go for a replacement of Lauren. I would put Cadiz on Lauren's slot, and then I would put more accuracy towards Sabrina. So you would have to actually have Sabrina on the 65 or 65 accuracy. She will become the armor breaker, and then Cadiz will be the brander. And I think that would speed up this team pretty much. So you do less damage because of putting 65 accuracy on her, but I do think it's pretty nice in general. And yeah, you cannot use double units, so you cannot do double Debra in this case. Other replacements there, not entirely sure what other replacements would work. If you do have a Manonon but not a Jara, you could put the Lauren and then a Manonon over here. If you have Manonon and Jara, I would remove the Debra and Lauren, I guess. Or maybe even the twins, or maybe even third, I don't know. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of options. Putting Lynn in there is an option over Debra. I don't think it's... Well, we can actually give that a try. Let's actually give that a try for a run to see what my Lynn would do in this dungeon rather than having Debra in there. But I do actually think that Talia will probably end up doing more damage than that Lynn would possibly do. I don't really expect the runs to be any faster. with a Lin rather than a Talia, because in the end, Talia and Sabrina do so much damage because you have these passive stacking and they just do more damage if things are low HP and all of that kind of good stuff. It does kind of add up for the damage, but since I have most things runed right now at the same time, it's actually pretty easy to switch. I didn't rune up the Maruna, which is also a good unit here, which is very good for the waves, but seeing this team being fast enough and you lap the waves a bunch of times, I don't really see the issue of that all too much. Yeah, and there's also a big issue with Talia AI not, or wait, Lin AI not being that great, whereas Talia AI skill 1 still does a lot of damage, skill 3 does a lot of damage, so that's actually pretty decent things out there throughout. The speed tuning isn't all right in this, so I might be having some lapping issues, but just for the idea of it, we are going to throw in the Lin, which is definitely too slow at this moment. Just for the sake of it, going to throw in damage on fire. And let's see how this runs. So it will be slightly out of tune, I guess. But just for the idea of it, once again, just seeing if this kind of works and how fast it works, mainly that. But since most of the runs are kind of on the same speed-ish, they don't really variate that much in speed. I think it's kind of fine. Yeah, as you can see, like, she often decides to use the useless skills, which is not that great. And just a skill 1 from a Lin doesn't really add too much damage at all. Like the skill 3, the skill 2 is kind of okay-ish still. But the skill 3 is where the heavy damage come in. And you could say, like, how about a Luna or something? But Luna has pretty long cooldowns on the skill 3. And if you just use it in the wave, it kind of slows down things as well. So, okay, good 140k. It is quite a bunch damage less than what you actually do on the dragon, I would say. So, yeah, that Water Dulcim is probably better than Lin because the Lin AI is so shit. Could be true as well. So, for a fastest run, your fastest potential run, yes, this does work with Lin. But, yeah, you can just kind of give it a go and give it a try and see what works best for you. But the 5th slot next to the Sabrina, Deva, and Lauren Vert, the 5th slot is kind of open for just ideas, throwing in some units. I think you can get away with like a Spectra or a Shaman or probably a whole bunch of units that fit that 5th slot. And it's just about either you can decide, do I want to fit a unit in that is better for clearing the waves, or do I want to fit a unit in that's better for clearing the boss? And in both cases, you're kind of fine and okay, and like you cannot really go wrong with that as long as the other units just deal enough damage. And then you could say like, okay, I want to have like a safety net in or anything like that. But I guess if she goes for those S3s, you still have pretty fast runs like throughout. If she doesn't, yeah, that's where you kind of get the issue. Is Martina also working? Yep, Martina also definitely works in that slot. So if you want to put Martina over the Lin slot, that's definitely an option as well. Totally does work. And once again, best option probably is the LD4, which is Dara. So guys, that's all for this video. Thanks a lot for watching. If you haven't yet, like and subscribe. Write me some random comments and